Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a universe built entirely on pure logic, on math, trust, and just ones and zeros. What happens when the very foundation of that world, well, it starts to crumble? Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really unique. We've got excerpts from an animated Crypto Universe series screenplay. It's called Chainverse, The Missing Block. And our mission here isn't just, telling a story. It's about using this drama, this narrative, as a way to see the potential weak spots and also the vital importance of these interconnected digital systems we rely on. We're going to explore how this whole fictional crisis sheds light on very real things like digital trust, asset bridging, network integrity. It's actually quite compelling.
Absolutely. And then when you step into this Chainverse, you realize pretty quickly it's more than just a backdrop. It's this neon lit city, right? Pulsing with blocks, bridges, transaction flow. It's vivid. And it's inhabited by these, personalities. They're like anthropomorphized network protocols, always syncing, staking, trading, and sometimes, like the title suggests, disappearing. It's this mix of high tech and character that lets us explore these abstract ideas in a really tangible way.
And the drama just kicks off immediately, doesn't it? No gentle start here. We're thrown right into the main chain council chamber, and you have BTC, Bitcoin himself, declaring the problem, just chillingly simple. Block 845,328 is missing? Weight of it hits instantly. The chain is broken. So, okay, when a foundational block like that vanishes, what are the real-world parallels? What kind of catastrophe are we talking about?
Well, yeah, the Chainverse characters, they spell it out with, frankly, alarming speed. And it mirrors actual risks. You've got Ethereum immediately pointing out the missing block held the bridge contract to RW City, which means, quote, real-world assets go dark.
Right.
Now, in our world, these bridge contracts are absolutely critical. They're the software links letting digital assets think tokenized real estate, commodities, what we call RWAs, real-world assets move between different blockchains, or connect to traditional finance. Losing one, it's not just an oops, it can sever the financial lifeline for billions in assets, just locks them up, paralyzes liquidity.
Wow. Okay, that's a massive blow right away. What about the other reactions in the council?
Well, you hear BNB pipe up, this is bad for business, real bad, which, makes perfect sense coming from a major exchange chain. Any hiccup in cross-chain transfers or asset availability, that hits trading volume, investor confidence, like instantly.
Makes sense.
And then USDT, representing stablecoins, shouts, transaction flows frozen, billions are stuck in limbo. And that just highlights the immediate danger to stablecoin pegs, their core job, really.
Yeah.
Maintaining stability and liquidity for the whole ecosystem. If USDT can't back its circulation, that's a massive crisis of confidence.
And it seems like the problem's already spreading, right? Affecting the actual assets themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Down at the bridge tower in the story, the RWA bots are already reporting trouble. Connection to the Treasury API is lagging. Another says, real estate asset mid-mint frozen. And this paints a really vivid picture of what happens when smart contracts linked to outside data, like a Treasury API for tokenizing real stuff, suddenly lose that connection. Your digital property deed, maybe it's mid-transfer, mid-creation, and poof, it's stuck. It really drives home how tied together digital and physical assets become when they're bridged.
So it's way beyond just a technical glitch. It's systemic failure, which brings us to that big overarching threat BTC mentions. If real-world data fails, DeFi collapses. Pretty stark. How could that actually happen? How does bad real-world data trigger a DeFi collapse?
Yeah, that's a critical point. DeFi, decentralized finance, relies heavily on things called oracles. These are basically services that feed real-world information like asset prices, maybe sports results, whatever, onto the blockchain. Now, if that data feed gets corrupted, or maybe the connection just drops, well, imagine the chaos. Lending protocols might start liquidating loans based on totally wrong prices. Stablecoins could lose their peg to the dollar. Synthetic assets mirroring real stocks could just fail.
Right.
Think about a lending platform where your collateral, say tokenized gold, suddenly gets valued at zero because the price feed oracle went dark.
Oh, wow.
That kind of chain reaction, it could absolutely cause a rapid systemic meltdown across DeFi. Just erodes all the trust in the system itself.
That is a genuinely chilling thought. And what's fascinating is how these different protocols react. It really shows their different personalities, their different roles, like USDT immediately snaps into action, returning to anchor point, protecting circulation. What's that tell us about their real-world priorities?
Yeah, it's very clear, isn't it? Their number one job is maintaining that peg, ensuring liquidity. For USDT, anchor point is like, it's a metaphor for their reserves, right?
Wow.
Their ability to back every single token with actual assets. So in a crisis, The absolute priority is making sure people can still redeem their USDT for dollars, protect stability, keep confidence up. Their stability is kind of the bedrock for a lot of trading.
Right, the foundation. And then you have ETH, always the builder, the analyst. They plan to deploy liquidity reroute contracts, but then there's this moment of realization, this feels like sabotage. That shift is really interesting.
It is. ETH, representing Ethereum, it's the home of smart contracts, dApps. So their first instinct is technical, build something, code a fix. In this case, yeah, reroute liquidity around the broken bridge.
Yeah.
Smart. But the suddenness, the precision of this missing block, it makes them think, hang on, this wasn't random, this looks targeted. And that reflects a real-world vulnerability, right? Complex smart contract systems could be exploited. Sophisticated coordinated attacks happen. A single weak point could be hit maliciously.
And then there's ADA, Cardano's character. A completely different vibe, much calmer, almost philosophical, saying things like, the chain seeks balance. This is not a bug, it's a signal. And later adds, we need more than speed. We need purpose. That really mirrors Cardano's actual philosophy, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Cardano's famously known for its, let's say, methodical approach. Research-driven, focused on long-term resilience, formal verification, academic rigor, sometimes prioritized over just being the fastest.
Right.
So ADA's character isn't panicking. They're looking deeper. What's the underlying weakness this signal is showing us? Almost suggesting that just slapping on a quick fix without understanding the purpose or the root cause might actually be worse in the long run. It's definitely a philosophical take on building robust systems.
That contrast is fascinating. But, that calm reaction also makes you wonder, maybe there is something more sinister going on than just an error. And the narrative introduces this really menacing figure, FORX, emerging from the testnet wastes, described as this place of corrupted nodes and glitching forks, and FORX itself, a chaotic fusion of failed tokens, meme coins, and AI code. I mean, that sounds genuinely terrifying.
It really does. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, FORX's ambition, stated as, the chain has served its time. A new layer will rise, my layer. One chain to rule them all. That's significant. Testnet waste perfectly evokes that sort of digital graveyard of abandoned crypto projects, scam tokens, dead forks that litter the real crypto space. And FORX being a chaotic fusion speaks volumes about the real threat of bad actors using discarded code, maybe failed projects, or even advanced AI to launch really disruptive, sophisticated attacks. It's pulling from the digital junkyard to create something dangerous.
And that line about FORX poisoning more bridges, leading to a crash in retail trust, that hits uncomfortably close to home, doesn't it?
Exactly. Because when bridges get exploited or poisoned in our world, it's usually through these complex hacks. They drain funds, create fake assets, and the immediate result, a catastrophic loss of retail trust. The confidence of everyday users, smaller investors.
Yeah.
And once that trust is gone, it is incredibly hard to get back. It directly impacts adoption, the long-term health of the whole decentralized idea.
Yeah.
FORX embodies that existential threat.
Yeah.
Someone trying to fundamentally break the system for their own gain.
So, okay, this terrifying new player emerges, and there's this clear call to action, a need to rally allies. ETH, the strategist, pulls up a holomap, calls for help. We need optimism, Arbitrum, maybe even Polygon. Why those specific names?
Yeah, that's a very direct nod to real-world Layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum. Optimism, Arbitrum, Polygon, they're all designed to handle transactions faster, cheaper off of the main Ethereum chain.
Right, the L2.
Exactly. So in a crisis where the main chain is congested or a bridge is down, these Layer 2s are crucial. They offer alternative routes for transactions. Maybe they can host essential applications temporarily. They act like relief valves, alternative lifelines, keeping some functionality going even when the main network is under severe stress.
Makes sense. Meanwhile, BTC makes a different strategic move, sends Solana to the edge nodes. Why? Because, as BTC says, he's the fastest.
Yeah.
Solana's known for speed. So what does Solana's journey dodging corrupt packets, flickering blocks, seeing that warning F0RX1, SC0M1NG, what does that represent in our world?
Solana's trip really paints a picture of the struggle to maintain network integrity right out at the edges of the system. That's where nodes can be most vulnerable. Corrupt packets, flickering blocks.
Yeah.
That sounds like real-world network jams, maybe DDoS attacks, or even malware designed specifically to slow down or mess up data flow. And that message, F0RX1, SC0M1NG, written like that. It's like seeing a digital virus signature. It means there's an active threat spreading through the network. It shows that even the absolute fastest protocols aren't immune. They can still be targeted by direct, malicious attacks trying to break their core function.
But then not all the help comes from, the usual heavy hitters. There's this moment. It's unexpected, kind of funny, but also really crucial. DOGE pops up on Solana's visor, offers help with, "Much chaos! Very glitch! Wow! Need help!" And Solana's reply is just perfect. "Buckle up, meme machine. We'll need all the hash we can get." It's a great bit of humor, but what's a deeper meaning there for the ecosystem?
Oh, it's a fantastic touch. Because
Darn.
DOGE, representing Dogecoin, right?
Yeah.
Often seen as just fun, community-driven, maybe not serious tech.
Yeah, the meme coin.
Exactly. But here, DOGE offers hash power. And that's not just a joke line. It actually points to the power of distributed community security through mining or proof of work. Even a network that isn't, say, central to DeFi or smart contracts can contribute raw computing power, processing power to help secure transactions, validate blocks. It highlights how, in a truly decentralized world, unexpected alliances can pop up. Collective resources, even from seemingly less serious players, can become vital when the system's under threat. Every bit of hash power strengthens the network against attack.
And they definitely need that strength, that alliance, because the chaos just ramps up, doesn't it? The Chainverse starts to shudder, red overlays glitch across the city, and then this dark message appears overhead, like some kind of giant virus warning. Blog, hashtag 845328 has been erased. Fork commences in 24 hours. That feels like the ultimate countdown clock.
It absolutely is. And this fork they mention, it's not like a friendly software update. This is hostile. It's basically an attempted chain split. FORX, the attacker, is trying to create a new, dominant version of the chain by wiping out a critical piece of history and forcing everyone onto their version of reality.
Wow.
In the real world, a successful 51% attack or a malicious hard fork like this, it can lead to chaos. Transactions reversed, double spending, a total collapse of faith in the original chain's integrity, its immutability, that 24-hour countdown. It really signifies that race against time before the entire digital economy gets fundamentally rewritten, or maybe even destroyed.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for us looking at this. The narrator lays out the ultimate stakes for the Chainverse. The chain must hold or all trust will be lost. This whole deep dive using this fictional story, it really leaves us with a stark reminder, doesn't it? Even in a world supposedly built on pure code and logic, those underlying principles, trust, integrity, resilience, they are absolutely paramount. It's about more than just the tech. It's the social contract that the tech enables.
And this really raises a crucial question for you, for everyone watching or participating. In any complex system, whether it's digital like this or, frankly, otherwise, what are the critical blocks?